Hello everyone. Hello everyone. The title of today's episode is Handling the Concept of Danger. And so when we look around, we see human beings working and acknowledging certain standards of life and living and abundance and certain standards of vitality. Now, as you begin to see that you are thrown into a situation that is more intense than your normal sense of intensity of handling things, it can cause to be a problem if you do not put in the extra effort. What that means is danger will come. Fear is lurking by the corner. But when all is apparent, you stand where you are. Because there's something about the human experience that no idea knows. That it can keep the world still to turn all that he knows. How you handle situations of conflict is by immediately begin aligning yourself with an acknowledgement of your sense of space and time. There's been the concept of honor, there has been the concept of certain amounts of pride in certain areas and certain movements, but your pride must be that of a living being. Because life is your intention. You are here to live. And as you are living, you're seeing the possibility of moving your intention to the moment by simply observing it. So when danger comes, you intensify, but at the same time you become more still, silent, and in a sense observe your situation and then choose a plan of action which is intuitively honest to you, and then act based on that honesty. And you will see, you will immediately leave the proximity of danger when you're being honest and you bring yourself back to the present moment to acknowledge the exact scenario, So on one level, all your attention goes to what is in your situation that needs to be handled and the danger possible there. And at the same time, an aspect of you is going into envisioning that scenario out of that turbulence. What that means is the pilot of consciousness has the interesting phenomena of being in his plane of existence, but he can also be his plane of existence. And what that means is, imagine you're having a conversation and suddenly someone else coming and talking over you. Well, you begin to see it's as if like that reality is crowding, so you raise your voice. Or you choose to remain silent to see what that person has said and simply stare at them for a while. And you will begin to see they will get the hint and apologize. Reality will get turbulent because new ideas that are very new to your sense of handling will come into your proximity. All of these must be handled through a trust of your moment of passage. Mr.Within is now thinking what the best manner of talking about danger is. And in a sense, rather than opening up the tiger's cages, we shall begin to wonder where we will go if danger comes. Let us begin this path. When danger comes to you, if you feel that you cannot pass, that you cannot handle it, your projection of reality, the steering wheel, is not being held by you. You're observing your car going into a wrong direction and you're not holding the steering wheel, It's very important to hold the steering wheel and then to see the intelligence that is there for the handling. So you as a human being must trust your moment more than this external reality and its suggestion of danger to you. But you must also be able to acknowledge it accurately and to see why that has come to you. And a lot of the times how you discover why something has happened to you is by being completely aware and in the experience. Some of the greatest revelations for me have come in dynamic states of being rather than static. What that means is, when I say dynamic, as in I'm more involved in life. There's so much more engagement I have, and as I have that engagement, as I have that intention to be alive, it seems that life is saying, well done. Now some living needs. being done. There are many pathways that will take you on many journeys, but you must not forget of the journey of a being into its plane of existence. For the tilt on the pilot's hat always was the smile of the grace of realized eyes. We are given many projections. Many things are appearing and happening to the being. But as you take care of the health of your moment by not individualizing reality constantly, you will not overuse this machine, and you will see actually throughout your day, your sense of being should get more energy from the actions that it's doing rather than losing more energy. And this is not per se in a physical sense, but in the sense that whatever you are doing throughout the day must cultivate and, in a sense, become part of your inspiration of your whole life's work. Everything that you have been so far to then do and show and communicate to the ears and eyes of man. And of course to all of man. There were certain moments in my reality where, when I was exploring my sense of multidimensionality, it wasn't happening consciously. Sometimes we receive lessons that we have no idea we need, and suddenly it's just like, gosh, after a very tough experience, we're like, gosh, life had to really teach me there, you know? And on some level, how you handle danger is also with the intensity that you can create within yourself to acknowledge your world and to bring the directions of peace that are within you without. Certain moments throughout my life, I have sat down in deep self-contemplation, and there was only one story that I took for guidance as I went into the jungle of the abstract, the force of the abstract. I know that Buddha had a story that there was a moment in his sense of revelation to himself. He was confronted by an army of darkness, and as this army of darkness threw countless arrows at him, he turned all of them into lotus flowers, and they fell down, you know. And of course there was gravity in the subtler plane because he was going from physical to subtle. Now, how that story inspires me is that it shows me that man has an ability in his unknown areas. We think we are powerless, presenceless in the unknown, but we exist in many ways, and many ways exist through us. That is why your moment is not just your moment. And it seems that we are all living right now. This story of the Buddha was my guide. I understood that my ability must initiate with my creative ability to see peace. And what that means is, when you are given an empty box, which each human being is given now as a problem of life, how do you handle the intelligence of your manifestation? If this world seems to be empty, what is the intelligence here? The eyes of man are a fountain of many combinations in which drops can find themselves in a greater body of water. As our thirst for truth takes us to the edge of thought, we must begin to see how much of our memory and how much of reality we must acknowledge. This is not something that will be a conscious choice. It will be how your conscious trusted it as unconscious, and the journey began within. You begin to see that all your steps are pointing in. All that is in is pointing out. The abstraction of man is in front of them, but an observer continues with the silence and stillness of eternity, hearing every noise, looking at every movement. You will see the intentions that will communicate out of you will give you certain senses of probabilities of trust. When a dangerous situation comes, there is probability. What that means is if there's an animal, wild animal about to attack me as a man have many different options, many different paths of action. And in a sense, similarly, in the abstraction of man, you become many probabilities of reality. So it becomes a movement of worlds within the individuality. So you as an individual physical consciousness here, as the human consciousness, literally imagine me in a park sitting on a bench. Me there, in a sense, as I become aware of what myself is, as the self is, I take myself to an awareness as the individual, and then suddenly I get an experience and an understanding of the plane in which that individuality is assigned. The minute you look at yourself, you begin to understand everyone else, because you're seeing how you're communicating to everyone else. And there's a profundity there. Now, as you begin to focus on the sense of individual consciousness, as you begin to use for your reference immediately who you are here, so that me, version of me on the bench that has closed his eyes, that becomes the position in which I become aware of the many worlds I can be in. We are, in a sense, the man in the city is, in a sense, giving himself some sort of multidimensional training. And what that means is we constantly think of who we want to be in the future. Kids are asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they don't even know what growing is, because growing is not a definable thing. Growing means your whole moment of existence is, in a sense, moving within itself to the next new moment. Your memory seems to be a caravan of travelers passing the desolate wastelands created by space and time, where those cracks in the desert were suggesting that even our Earth can break in certain subtle views. As I was on that bench, it's not something linear, but linearly and poetically, with a bit of non-linear space, I'm going to explain to you how it was. And so I sat down, I saw my individuality, and my whole life I've been acknowledging an individual consciousness. That's something I was very prepared for. So I utilized that, and this individuality began to become aware of its world in a way where, how do I say it? I stopped being a thinker. And as the minute that happened, a lot of clarity entered my mind. Because a thinker is chained to the outcome of his thoughts. But the being, before the human idea, has existed beyond space and time. One reality, just like the flame of candlelight, with all its temporal convictions that this illumination has been meaningless because the wax is going to melt, suddenly was found among sunlight. I did not just see a candle melt, but I also saw the world that is lit up in front of us. Do not individualize your intelligence too much, but be able to handle the individuality well. And that means you need to acknowledge certain existential truths. The passing of the seasons is one of them. The reality of a temporal world is one of them. The design of the unknown and known is one of them. Clarity and existential observance is all crucial to know. However, Mr. Within would like the human experience to begin acknowledging itself more multidimensionally. And that doesn't mean just go make fantasy lands. That means acknowledge the space and time that is directly in your experience and go with the trust of how your moment from a platform of honesty can lead to many great flights. Pilots of consciousness know themselves as the intelligence of their plane of existence. What that means is man is being introduced now to a sense of existential communication where it's a new orientation, it's a new idea. It seems that Mr. Within has come to give a prep talk. What reality needs to begin to confront is human beings that allow everything. They allow not just insanity, but all forms of sanity that the insanity could suggest. You begin to see that man is not here to be compared, for in his comparison he will kill to survive. For competition seems to be the idea of dogs who are chained to a demise in where when a stake is thrown, there is no kindness, there is no compassion, there is the brutality of feeding a hunger of a reality that does not serve. I want you to begin thinking not in terms of there's a you, think of in terms there's a world that is you, there's a presence that is you, there's a life that is you. And this life that is you sometimes gets definition, sometimes you call yourself by your name, but at other times you are an observance, you are an intelligence, you are a moment of experience. It's a profound moment when death comes to man, and man has already left. The human experience will, in 7 to 10 years, become one of the most greatest inspirations of how blind men created their eyes. As the human experience becomes more focused on vision, we will have less of a material sense of need, but we will at the same time begin finding modalities where truth will become the currency of the future. Honesty will become the currency of the future, because through natural intelligence we are finding our survival. We are becoming the experiencer rather than the object of experience, which could be thrown on any wall, against any wall. For the beauty of one man speaking is that the whole world is his audience. Danger will suggest a reality of incapability to you. Your ability is one that moves beyond the projection of even capability. You will begin to see your trust in who you are will allow things to happen more smoothly in your experience. And do not think that you're alone. For I've had certain experiences, and of course this wasn't a dream, but in a dream I'm found in a certain setting. And in that certain setting, it's like a uncomfortable setting where I'm around. In the dream, I'm somewhere on this field around certain people who are very dangerous, as if in the dream I know very dangerous. And immediately I close my eyes, and in the dream, I feel it's as if I don't say anything, but my being calls upon a certain guidance. And in the dream, I feel the presence of I feel guidance behind me. I feel presence just manifest beside me. And what that showed me is that in regards to an image in which humanity utilized, there was a beautiful family and beautiful fantasy there. But in regards to the experiencer, what I understood was that in that dream, when there was a suggestion of an incapability, my mind created the capability. Just like how you go into bad moments, it seems that life is also aware of the good moments you can have. You are always deserving of a greater life. For once you find that greater life, you will see that you had always been great. That is the gift of the achiever. He was always there. And you will see danger will become a suggestion among many suggestions, but you have found your voice. You will continue on with the glow of your hall. This hole is with a W for the working man. For all men are here to present their greatest life's work. You have begun from day one. as Mr. Within smiles, show mankind more. Show mankind more. The bliss of experience is your home. And of course, you must acknowledge a sense of simultaneous manner of acknowledging reality, in the sense that in one angle, we are individual, but simultaneously, the minute that individuality moves, it creates potentials of collective acknowledgement and being. Two human beings might not be aware of their communication or their conversation, but many worlds of possible presence is ignited. Human communication is the great rivers of abstraction set loose into the manifest world. What the human presence has been doing on this earthly plane of existence is that he has created a plane, he has created a world to enter with the communication that has been done. Humanity is the possibility of different beings to feel within their species as one. Guided by the love of your world, you shall see, you will compassionately find yourself in a moment where you will give reality, all the reality you're given. And there in the edge of thought, in the edge of space and time, you shall begin to see the spark that is your emanation. For all men are emanations of greater intentions. Some men communicate and say that there is many seeds of design. But those with lips of insanity knew all was the door. From now on, you are a very aware being. Trust the world that you're present in. Guide many realities that you initiate. Begin working and communicating. In other words, your human communication, begin communicating it honestly, sincerely. Your steps in this reality are not just physical. They're also with the way you speak, the way you talk, the way you handle people. You know, we want to do this mindfully. We are given too many notes of wisdom from the past to not be aware of this. Allow wisdom to grow. For when man looks at where he's sitting, he might feel the weight of his legs, wondering why they need to get up. But when you remember that your existence is your work, is your life, there is work to be done. Become the greatest exploration of your plane of existence and learn not from human teachers, but also learn from the greatest teacher that is your world and your moment of experience. Clarity can beautifully be suggested to be like a butterfly. If you chase it, you might catch it, but you won't feel gentle. And sometimes when you chase it, you can't catch it at all. You feel a step behind. But when you sit still and silent and smile with the gentleness of this world, you shall see, as your eyes are closed, they will begin to open. For a butterfly has welcomed you on your forehead. A butterfly has opened its wings on your forehead. For the adult mind, there is a need for playfulness in order to have a certain multidimensional awareness to be engaged. What that means is if you have been living a certain life in a certain routine life for a while, begin changing things playfully in the sense that wherever you are giving yourself complete creative space to be aware of what needs to be done and just to follow your intuition, your sense of honesty, and your sense of adventure. I hope this talk has served you. Do not be afraid of anything. There is no danger here. There's just existential exploration, and the more mindful you are, the more you can consciously incorporate this into how your personalities constantly change. So imagine if you were a being who your sense of personality was in regards to a drop. You thought you were only a certain sense of self. You thought you were a certain somebody. You're now beginning to see that your moment, as it passes, as the environment comes into your awareness and becomes a part of your sense of observance, you are many selves. You're not the drop, you're rather the experience of the stream. And that's profound because many senses of identity, many senses of being, many projections of reality are passing through you. Just like how I can look at a highway and see so many cars passing by simultaneously. I can begin to see how there are many senses of identity and idea and possibility and being that is passing through the mind of man. And it seems humanity and human culture and society has been a luxury when existential chaos is there in the depth of man to become an observance of greater order. This order is a divinity that is untouchable. And when I say untouchable, you're untouchable by the intelligence of your being. What that means is once humanity close your eyes, your world was still mine. Allow yourself the greatness that is found within your simplest actions. What that means is you are great, not because of that speech or that action, that certain thinking, but you are great for being aware that your breath was also in the presence of that greatness that was able to be. Your simplicity is as great as your complexity, but you need to align yourself because a lot of how you're simply looking at things are not a lot of your views. I noticed this for myself. It's as if the way I had been raised by culture and society, it's just as if I was allowed to just go and accept any reality. And suddenly I noticed I had so many senses of realness that it's like I was confusing myself by buying too many books from the bookstore and reading only a random page from each one of them, and trying to put it together. Well, of course, there's a confusion. Begin to see that you are here to be a compassionate moment of experience. Compassionate doesn't mean fluffy, it means existential. And of course, what needs to be done by man is an observance of man, aside from just existential lines to be. Really get comfortable with existence, and you will see that a comfortable experiencer has nothing to worry about. It's an internal state of being aware of how your externality is being just in a moment observed as part of the whole. Of course, every moment is a treasure to be revealed. The concept of danger is an existential confrontation that you will always be on. But as you go through it, you will truly understand what you're doing. And always give yourself the greatest sense of guidance. For revelation can be realized in an instant. Much blessings on us.